r/ask Reddit. What's your NSFW college story? A girl bet a friend of mine that if he could eat 18 ice cream Snickers bars in 30 minutes, she would give him a blowjob. He finished in 18. She backed out of the deal. So all he won was the admiration of his peers and a massive stomach ache. The same friend almost got kicked out of school for shitting on the bra of a girl from our dorm. The details are not terribly important. He had a student affairs trial and had to testify about pooping on the bra in front of all these university higher-ups and what he learned from it. A lot of the people on our floor went in support to testify, essentially saying, sure he shat on that bra, but he's a good guy. I felt terrible because he only took that decisive dump because I told him it would be funny. I can't help but feel details might be important. The girl wanted to prank another girl on our floor by putting her roommate's bra on their door handle, but mistakenly put it on my friend's door. Friend and I noticed it and we're like, huh, that's weird. I then offhandedly said, it would be funny if someone shat on that bra. Without a word, my friend immediately grabbed the bra, a plastic bag, went into the bathroom and crapped all over it. The bra's owner, who was not involved in the prank at all, went around the floor asking where her bra was. Seeing how upset she was and that she was getting the Ras involved, my friend and I realized bra shitting was a huge mistake, and we fessed up. Since the Ra was already in the mix, he had to report it to student life, and they decided the crime was worthy of expulsion of the perpetrator. The girl was like, WTF, my bra got dumped on, but she was cool with my buddy and didn't want him to get kicked out of school. She testified for him at the trial, which I'm sure helped keep him in school. Met a girl in a frat party. We eventually ended up in a bar where talking turned to dancing, turned to grinding, turned to feeling each other up a little, and then suddenly she was giving me a nonchalant hand job in the middle of the dance floor. That was one of the standout nights of my year abroad. And you ended up a bald principal who hates his job. How the grateful. Don't let the name fool you. He's very much in charge. Watched a guy beer bong a fifth of Jack. Right before he did it he said to his buddies, okay, so when I'm done, let's go to the hospital. He did it and he and his buddies immediately hopped in a car and took him to get his stomach pumped. Could have just thrown up like the rest of us. He was a man with a plan. One of the conditions of the plan was don't duck with the plan. I saw somebody do that with a fifth of wild honey, chased it down with a 2 liter of coke and then immediately projectile vomited all over the place. I think he could have kept it down if he didn't drink the coke. I had a part-time on-campus job as night manager for the college coffee shop, with responsibility for baking all of the cookies for the next day. One night, as I was cleaning the work area after the shop was closed and my co-workers were gone, my very kinky girlfriend stopped by, closed the door to the work area, and showed me her lack of panties. We proceeded to duck on the work table where cookies get made. Later that month, we ducked in the coffee shop itself, after hours, while a big college dance party was taking place literally right next door. Said very kinky girlfriend is now my wife, just celebrated 25 years married. I went to college in Minneapolis and worked at a convenience store across the street from my apartment. One day these 2 Japanese girls brought a bunch of ice cream to my counter and we talked for a bit. I found out that they were visiting from Osaka and disliked the girl they were crashing with because she was boring. So I invited them out to see a local band at First Avenue. We ended up having a great time and went back to my place to party more. My friend Mike who was with us went home eventually and the girls jumped on me as soon as I locked the door. We hooked up and the whole time I was in disbelief because for a white guy, having a threesome with 2 Japanese girls is cartoon level bucket list. Also, having a threesome wasn't as intimidating as I had always thought. I had just thrown out all of my furniture including a couch and bed because some a-hole put a great looking couch riddled with bed bugs by the dumpster with no sign and I unknowingly brought it up to my apartment. We had all crashed in a pile of blankets and sleeping pads after fooling around. I was worried that in the morning I would have to explain to the girls and they would run away, grossed out, but they were totally cool and understanding. They hated the girl they were supposed to be staying with so much that they ended up bringing all their luggage down to my place to stay with me in my unfurnished apartment. They stayed the rest of their time in Minneapolis with me and cleaned my apartment. bought me booze and cooked delicious Japanese stew for me. I offered to drive them to the airport as it was the least I could do. On the way to the highway, one of them made me pull over at a furniture store and bought me a damn futon bed. Best thing that happened to me in college. If you're out there, thank you Minami and Neo. This story is fantastic. Word to whoever reads this. Never bring up furniture from the curb. Not mattresses. Not sofas. Not anything where bugs or rodents could be living and not be apparent. A couple of girls on my floor were going to a dance one night. I didn't go as I had work early the next morning. So I helped out with hair, makeup, and a variety of other things before going back to my room to watch a movie. As I was sitting on my bed watching my film, the door opened. A random guy came in and took off his pants. I was a bit shocked and confused, so I didn't manage to say anything while he was undressing. As soon as his pants were on the ground, I managed to speak up. I told him wrong room and he looked around, pulled up his pants, and left. One night when I was sleeping in my dorm room, the guy who lived next door walked into my room. He woke me up, obviously very drunk, and informed me that I was in the wrong room. We argued about who was in the wrong room for a minute or so, before I finally convinced him to go out in the hall and make sure. He then apologized and left. I thought it was hilarious, but my girlfriend, who was right next to me in the whole time, was terrified. I locked the door at night from then on. My housemate used to make the most adorable squeaking noise when she was having sex. Difficult to sleep through though. I had a roommate in college that earned the nickname Mr. Bleachers from the quantity of titties he pulled. He was dating this one Asian broad for a while that sounded like he was ducking a squeaky toy. One night I was trying to watch Thor on my admittedly overpowered entertainment system and I could hear this girl from the other room squeaking oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Being a proper roommate and a right proper dunt, I paused my movie and brought up a Mortal Kombat soundboard, cranked the volume, and blasted the finisher clip. They stopped. She asked, is he playing a video game? He proceeded to almost roll out of his room while laughing. We still bring that one up at the bars. There was a girl in our dorm that everyone referred to as Jingles. She had these socks that had little bells on them, which she wore to bed. Not sex related. Naked beer slide in January. Several inches of snow on the ground and suddenly there is a nude conga line and people diving on a beer soaked water slide. Afterwards we quickly ran back in the house and had turned off the lights to hide when the police showed up and the residents answered the door pretending there wasn't a gathering of rowdy college drunks. I was a member of a club called High Society, which was pretty much a drug distribution organization, funded unknowingly by the university. Once a year we would have a boat cruise on the river, where we would consume drugs at an alarming rate, while singing songs that mocked the police, who would follow us along the riverbank, waiting for us to disembark. The trick was to make sure anything illegal was disposed of before they boarded. I'm convinced we are a big reason there now exists a water police division in our city. There was also the anatomy student who stole a penis from the cadaver lab and freaked out a bunch of dudes in a pub toilet by floating it down the urinal. Pretty sure he faced criminal charges but escaped jail time. So, a guy in my frat had walked onto the football team, but quit or scrubbed out after freshman year. He was still buddies with a bunch of football players though. Walken was friends with this girl from his hometown who was also a student. She was moderately attractive. The freshman 15 had definitely done its work, but she had huge tits that she always displayed prominently. She was also a big partier, and had the reputation of being really easy. Several guys in my frat had slept with her, and people were always making fun of them. Cause the rumor / joke whatever was that she had STDs from getting gangbanged by Walken's football buddies. But I always assumed that was just giving people shit. So, I'm down in the college town over the summer, and me, Walken, and another frat bro are hanging out one evening at a house Walken was renting with some football buddies. We're drinking and playing cards. Having decided we wouldn't go out that evening, girl and 3 football players show up. I knew girl from her hanging around our frat parties, and kinda knew the football players through Walken. They were all linemen, that is, fat 300 plus lb dudes. They had been at a bar nearby and had come over to do some coke. So, they all start snorting coke, and we continue drinking. It was the summer and hot as hell. One of the football players cranks the music, and they proceed to strip down to their underwear and start dancing around. Girl also strips down to her thong and is dancing around, etc. It wasn't like a strip show or anything, but she was teasing people, rubbing her tits in people's facing, and kinda grinding on some of us that were sitting down. Anyways, after a while one of the football players takes her to her bedroom. We start hearing sex noises and laugh about it, but then a couple minutes later the other two football players head off to the room. Me and second frat guy look at Walken, and he just kinda grins and throws up his hands. The rumors were true, so Walken is like, come on, let's check this out. We go to the bedroom door. One of the football guys is laying on the bed, with girl rocking on top of him. A second one is getting jerked off by her, and a third one is kinda standing in the corner, trying to jerk his dong, but looking like he's not having much success. Walken proceeds to drop his drawers. Me and the second frat bro decide we don't need to see girl get plowed by these 4 fat dudes, and proceed to the kitchen to continue drinking. At some point the guy who was trying to get it up storms out of the room, yelling to high hell, and barges out the back door. Later a second football guy leaves the room and stumbles to what I assume was his bedroom. Then girl walks out to the kitchen, butt naked, grabs a bottle of booze and takes a big pull. Walken comes out and said the third football player passed out. We drink some shots and whatnot, all the while with girl just standing around butt naked. Eventually she says to me and second frat bro something like, so do you guys want a turn before I pass out? Given the likelihood of catching an STD and the lurking discontent of having seen those 4 dudes naked, I politely decline, as does second frat bro. So Walken tells girl he wants a second round, and they head to his bedroom, while we head home. The end. In the mid-90s I was installing network cards for dorms connected to the brand new 10 out of 100 switch network. Super fast upgrade over the old 10 base 2 network. Edit. I worked for a university. Anyway, I walk into a dorm to assist a really lovely, really nice girl. Got her connected. Got the Novell Client 32 software installed. Got her connected to the mapped drives. She kept scooting closer and closer, and she smelled wonderful. A few minutes later her roomie strolls in from the shower, looks at me and then her, and then drops the bathrobe and starts strolling around in the nude, with me desperately trying to be professional and not look. Her friend, sitting next to me so close that our legs were touching, just shakes her head and pats me on knee. I was wearing shorts, then leaves her hand there. A few minutes later she stands up, faces me, unbuttons blouse and removes bra, then only buttons one button on blouse. One button. In that instant she was so much sexier than the fully nude roomie, which is what I told her. She said that I was sweet, gave me a $50 tip, then said her boyfriend was going to be there any minute. I was too confused to tell her I couldn't take a tip, and when I turned around after exiting her room, she took her blouse completely off, blew me a kiss, then closed the door. I was very confused and had trouble walking out. It was uncomfortable in my pants, and to be honest, my heart felt like it was going to explode. I only ever saw her once more a couple of months later, but didn't think she would recognize me, so I didn't say anything. I was at the local pizza parlor, a couple of places in line behind her. When it was my turn to order, the girl behind the counter said that my meal was already paid for. So weird. She wanted the spicy pepperoni. I wanted pepperonis. She wanted sausage. I was in my freshman dorm with a buddy and there was a party going on in another dorm room. We proceeded to head over and had a few beers and decided to get high. One of the guys in the room was asking people if they wanted to do mushrooms with him. I politely declined as he opened a bag and shoved what appeared to be at least an eighth into his mouth. We stayed for about another hour before someone suggested that we move the party into the orchard that was right next to the dorm building so we could smoke cigarettes. So about 20 of us moved from this tiny dorm room outside. Only one of us decided to stay. Mushroom guy. We asked him several times if he wanted to come and he said that he was fine and that he didn't want to go outside. So we enjoyed a few darts outside and after about 45 minutes decided to go back to the dorm room. As we were walking up the stairs to the second floor we smelled it before we saw it. We turned the corner to the hallway and saw Shroom Guy spread eagle on the ground completely naked. There was shit everywhere. On the floor, on the wall, It looked like he had tried to make cave paintings on the walls with his own shit. He sees us and stands up and comes over to try and hug us, but we say stay back because he has shit all over his hands and chest. His friends immediately beckon him into the dorm room and throw him in the shower. My buddy and I immediately bolted back to our dorm room. I heard that the Ras found everything the morning after and were so pissed that they went door to door and threatened to get the shit tested for DNA unless someone fessed up. Shroom guy eventually did tell the RA and was subsequently kicked out of the dorm. Edited for clarity and continuity. Whoa, you made it to the end? You're a ducking beast. I'll cut you a deal. Smash like and subscribe for more curated content, bruh. It's free and that's a great price.